Hello, everyone. Today we're doing the second live stream talking about how to build a Webflow app. Webflow apps or designer extensions are a new thing in Webflow that you can already start building, and it allows you to create native apps that can be open right from the designer, like this. Essentially, you can slap an app on the designer and that allows you to interact with the canvas, interact with the designer, create, delete, update elements on the canvas, and then also it has other functionalities that we will be talking about. On the previous live stream, we went through the basics on how to interact with the Webflow designer, how to create elements, how to update elements, and how to create an app from scratch and start developing that app. So today I want to create a potentially usable app.
That's sweet.
And I think it would be cool to start with something that it's small, and it's essentially an extension, a way of adding new components or elements to the library here in Webflow. So here in Webflow, you have a few built-in components. You can add divs, you can add links, you can add sections, you can add, basically that's mostly it's lists maybe, and a few other components that have some pre-built styles like a container, a flex wrapper, stuff like that. But Webflow, it's missing a few elements natively. And a bunch of those elements that I can think of are native buttons, or date inputs, or range inputs, or keyboard inputs, or dialogues. There are many HTML elements that Webflow does not support out of the box, and you have to rely on HTML embeds to add them, right? You have to come here and say, okay, I want to add a button like this because Webflow doesn't have the button built in. And then it starts to become cumbersome because you have to now deal with code instead of dealing with actual components in the designer. So I want to build just a similar layout like this where people can just click on elements that they want to add on their project. And we can add all these elements that are missing to make a complete library to improve the experience of the designer. So what I want to do is, on the previous stream, we used the template, the boilerplate, the example project that Webflow provides you when you create a new project, right? So when you do if you go here in the documentation and you do the create an app, you have to install the CLI, and then the CLI spits when you initialize the CLI, it spits some boilerplate. And this is what we were working with on the previous lesson, right? But I know that many people doesn't want to build extensions with raw HTML and CSS and JavaScript. You probably want to use a framework for it, right? Maybe at some point we can use Waste for it. It would be cool, right? But I want to use Svelte in this case because I like Svelte. I think it's cool. So I want to spin up again. I want to build this again from scratch. But instead of using the project from Webflow, instead of using what Webflow provides as a template, I want to use this Svelte project. And I want to load that Svelte project directly in the app. So you can see exactly how to do it, okay? Let's just create a new project. So actually, I don't want to create a new project. I just want to reuse this. Let's just remember that here we need... You know what? I'm just going to do it here in a new folder. So I'm just going to move this... Hold on a second. I'm going to do this first, whatever. And I'm just going to move. Let me get rid of the node modules. I don't care about them. And I'm going to move everything in the first folder like that. So let me just create a Svelte project. But what I'm going to do right now, you can do it with anything. You can do it with React. You can do it with plain Vite. You can do it with Vue. You can do it with anything. Okay, I'm just going to use Svelte because I like Svelte. So let me go here, svelte.dev. Let me zoom in for a bit. And all we have to do to spin up a new project is going to be npm create, Svelte latest, and then the folder where we want it. So in my case, I use pm, but it's going to be the same. So I'm going to do pm create, Svelte latest, and then I'm going to add it into second, like this. Okay, it's going to ask me for a few questions, probably. If I want TypeScript, I want a skeleton project, I want TypeScript, and I want ESLint, I want Prettier, and I don't want testing for now. Cool. Okay, let's just go into the second like this. I mean, installing everything. And essentially, this is just a Svelte project. That's it. So if I run pnpm dev now, it's still not going to be a Webflow Designer app. So stay with me. But we're going to convert it into a Designer extension app in just a second. Cool. Okay. Resolve, reused. Let's wait until it finishes installing. But something that I can tell you already that we're going to need is we're going to need to install the Webflow CLI. I will install the Webflow CLI to the project, and also we're going to install the Webflow Designer extension typings. So we have all the required type definitions. I'm also going to use concurrently, but I'm going to explain what the hell concurrently is and why we need it in this case, okay? So first of all, let me install the CLI, which is this. So I'm going to install pnpm add the CLI, and also I want to install the TypeScript definitions. And lastly, I'm going to install also concurrently, like this. Okay. So once it resolves installing, then all we have to do is change the dev command so we can use it to actually serve the extension. Okay, let me check. We have the Webflow CLI, good. We have the extension designer typings. Okay, cool. So now if I run pnpm dev like this, and I try to open it, what's going to happen is that it's going to open a Svelte project, but it's not a designer extension as I mentioned before, right? So what we want to do is serve this as a designer extension. Let's just inspect the package.json because I want to explain. This is the package.json from the previous project, so from the first project, the one that we spinned up from the template that Webflow provides. And if you check the dev command, all they do is do Webflow extension serve. And this command, what it does is checks for the public folder that contains the entry index.html and the JavaScript and the CSS. So when we run this is going to look for the public folder and serve it as an extension, right? So if I go back to the second, to here, the one that we just spinned up, and let me just do a quick build. So if I do pnpm build like this, you will see that the output of the build app, come on, why is it taking so long? Oh, shoot, I did a Svelte project, my bad. Okay, hold on a second, because I spent up a Svelte project. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to use the bit template. So if you want to spin up a new Svelte project, and in this case, you don't want to use Svelte, you want to use raw Svelte. Svelte is especially for server-side rendering and stuff like that, but I just want to use the UI framework itself. So instead of doing this, and I apologize for the confusion, instead you should just create a bit template from here. So if you go to get started in bit.js.dev and you look for templates, there is a template for Svelte that I think that I created one. So I'm going to remove what I just did. Okay, I'll try to do it very, very quick. But I'll remove this and I'll create it again, but I'll use the bit template instead of the Svelte. Okay, so we want to use, instead of pnpm create Svelte at latest, well, I'm going to use bit at latest. So, okay, let me remove all. That's why it was taking so long to compile. So let me do it again. I'm going to do pnpm create bit at latest and second, like that. And now I'm going to use Svelte like this with TypeScript. Cool. Okay, second, pnpm install. And now you can see how it's a bit smaller now, and it's lighter. The package digestion probably is also smaller. Yeah, because it's not bulkhead. Okay, now we're talking. Great, and I'll just do a quick install of the Webflow CLI and the design of the TypeScript definitions also that I did before, and hopefully it's gonna be cached, so it'll be fast. This, correct, like this. Okay, so now I can pick up from where I was before, and I want to show you the build output of this second one. Okay, remember that on the first one, the build output is this public folder, but if I do pm building here, in the second one, the one that we're creating now, the output is the dist folder instead of the public folder, right? So we need some way of telling the Webflow CLI that our application is living in the dist folder, not in the public folder. Okay, this is important. And we can do that. So if we go to the app manifest file, okay, in the Webflow.json file, we can also define the public there. And you can see already how this is a very common use case where people actually have a dist folder instead of a public folder. So I'm going to just copy and paste the Webflow.json from the previous stream in here, not in here, but in the second. Yes, and I'm going to add the public there. It's equals to dist, like this. Okay, so now if I run Webflow extension serve, I think it's the command. It should already let me open this in here. If I don't know what I'm doing right now, how I'm loading the app, please go to the previous stream because I explained that. But if I launch the app, I should be seeing this build app. Cool. Okay, so now we have something that's usable, right? Now, there's one missing step, and it's that if I make any changes here, so if I come here and I change this, like this, if I change this, I want it to be reflected automatically, right, in the extension because I'm developing. But right now it's not doing it. And the reason is because the extension serve command, it's checking the dist folder, right? And the dist folder, it's just output when we build the app. So in Vite, we have a command that it's bit build, that it generates the build output, but also we can do bit build -- watch, like this. And essentially it will still build the extension, but it will watch for any changes and rebuild the extension anytime that we change something, okay? The difference between doing this bit build -- watch and bit dev is that when you do bit dev, it also looks for all the changes and shows you in the served place. But the problem is that it doesn't generate this folder, right? And the Webflow extension, the CLI from Webflow relies on this folder to load the app inside the designer. So we need to do this other approach of building and watching for changes so we can be rebuilding anytime. Okay, so now if I do pm dev like this, it will build it once. You can see how it's building it. And now if I make any changes, it will rebuild it again like this. Okay, but the problem is that I am doing just bit build, but I'm not serving. So I need to do the two things at the same time. I need to be building and watching constantly, and I need to be serving the extension in Webflow, right? And the way that we can do that is we are using concurrently. Okay, concurrently it's an npm package that allows you to have two processes running at the same time. So we have one process which is bit, and we have another process which is the Webflow CLI. So I'm going to just steal from here, and I'm going to do concurrently like this. And I think that we have to use quotes like that. So one will be this, and the second one will be the Webflow extension serve, like that. So now with the dev command, we say, hey, I want you to run these two commands at the same time. I want you to be building and watching the files and serving to Webflow. Okay, I know that's a bit weird, but it's not that uncommon to do when you're developing apps, so don't worry. Okay, cool. So npm dev, and if we did it correctly, now it should be building, and it should be serving the extension. Correct. So let's see if it works. Let's refresh this. Vite, okay. And if I say Finsweet, and we do this, cool. Okay, we have hard reloading. Great. So now we have everything set up so we can build the extension using Svelte. Let's just jump here into the app. Let me get rid of everything and say, hey, like that. Cool. Okay. So for now, we have a few weird styles, and I want to get rid of these. And the way that Svelte has it here in this project is just by having some built-in styles, but I'm just going to get rid of everything because I don't care. Because today, this extension, it's not going to be pretty. I am sorry to tell you guys, but this extension, it's going to be pretty ugly today. I'm going to focus on doing just the functionalities and not the styles. So I'm going to do just some normalizing. I'm going to do background color. How about we make it look as Webflow? You can just copy and paste the official Webflow Designer styles from the documentation here in Webflow. Nice. So I'm just going to copy all of this. I'm going to copy all of this, and let's put it in here. I'm going to say root, and we'll have all of this like that. And if we did it right, now we should be doing text 1 probably, right? So if I do var text 1 like that, let's see. Reload. Cool. Okay. Convenient. If you want to make your app look exactly like Webflow, this is very convenient. Now I'm thinking, does it also include the fonts? Does it have the fonts? Fonts. Yes, it does. Cool. Let's just do font family. Cool. And is there anything else that we could use? No, right? Okay, fair enough. I think it's fine. Okay. I want to start building stuff. Let's just focus on doing the actual thing, which is I want people to be able to just click on an element, and that element is going to be added to the project, okay? And let's just make a list of some of the elements that we could do. We could do the button like this. We can do date inputs. We can do range inputs. We can do select drop-downs. And I have a reason for that. And the reason is because if you remember a stream that we did a while ago about Wisp, and I was trying to render a bunch of options inside Wisp, and we didn't have control of the of each of the options. Now we'll be able to do it through this. So it's cool. Let's do dialog. What else? Input type date, yes. Date input, range input, select dropdowns. Let's do details. Let's do the preparation. Let's do. I think it's a good start, right? We could use all of these. So I want to create a list of these elements. Let me just comment this out because. Okay, cool. So here in Svelte, we can just create a quick list. So I'm gonna do. Let me create a script tag, and it's gonna be of language TypeScript, and we can create the components. Let's just make a quick list. Let me do components or elements. Let's say or tags. Let's just do components like this. And in here, I'm gonna create. So this one is gonna be name, button. How about we use the actual tag so it's easier to understand? Tag, it's going to be button. How about an image? Can we do an image? We should do an image. Okay, I don't know what the hell Copilot said here. Please don't be porn. Okay, it doesn't exist. Okay, I think that we can just go with tag and image for now. Let's just start with a couple ones. Let's not complicate things, and then we can just focus on adding the rest of them. Cool. So in Svelte, the way that we do this is doing like this: each component as component. Actually, that's it. Actually, it should already work. Cool. Okay. More or less. Let's add some styles. And let's say that let's create a list here, components list. And let's just wrap everything here. Let's remember that we could even use Webflow to design this. I'm just doing it right inside the Svelte extension. But something cool that that you can do is you could design the app in Webflow. So you could be using Webflow to create Webflow apps. I think it's cool. But for now, as I said, I don't want to make it pretty, so let's just do it quickly here. So components list, it's going to be, let's make it grid. Display grid and columns. I don't even know how to do grid columns. Does it work like this? How the hell do you do columns directly in CSS? Because Webflow already always shows me how to do this out of the grid. Let me do quick grid. Grid. Now you can see, I don't know how the hell to do grids without Webflow helping me. Okay, how about I publish this? And then I'm going to literally copy the grid styles from Webflow. So they should be grid. This is what I want. Cool. This is what I wanted. Okay, cool. So if I did it right now, I think that we should have a call grid. Yes. Good. Okay. I want this to wrap around. Can we do the image to be... Let's do... I know it's not the best, but... All right, because it doesn't... What the hell? Let's just make a placeholder for now. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I am not going to use this. I'm just going to create a div that has the component tag in it. Like this. Cool. And maybe we can do something like... Let's do component image. Okay, we can do background color. Let's just pick some color, random color. Let's do background 3. I don't know what the hell this is. They should be like that. Okay, and do like this. Cool. I think that this works. This is enough. So whenever we click on button, I want to add a button. Whenever we click on dialog, I want to add a dialog. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay, great. I am going to add a functionality that when the user clicks on this, so when the user clicks on this button or this dialog like this, it injects the element in the designer, whatever element has the user selected. Okay, it's going to insert it as a child of it. So let's do. How about I want that handle click, and I want that whenever a tag is clicked, I'm going to get the information of that tag, and I'm going to inject whatever it's missing. Okay, so I'm going to do in here, this component, let's make it a button. Let's make things accessible like this. On click, I want to handle click. Oh, actually, no, I want this. I want to do this like this. And I want to call it with the component tag like this. So whenever we click on one of these, it's going to run this function, passing the tag, the one that was selected, into this function, okay? And in here, it's where the magic is going to happen. I'm going to make this function async. And what we want to do is, first of all, remember the previous stream, we're going to get the currently selected element, right? So I'm going to do selected element. I'm going to do Webflow. Did we install the typings? We did install the typings. So let me try to hint TypeScript that we have this. And maybe I can just do nope. It's going to be inside compiler options, probably. Yeah, types. And I'm going to say this. Is it going to work now? Yes. Okay, so if for any reason the type definitions from Webflow, so these Webflow Designer extension typings, it's not available, you can always hint TypeScript that there are some type definitions that he should be including by using this types property in the TS config. Okay, get it for you if you ever need it. So I'm gonna do get selected element like this. I don't know if it's a promise. Is it a promise? Yeah, it's a promise. So let's wait for it like this. And if there is no selected element, we could warn the user. So we can do Webflow dot. I think that it was notify, like that. And we can say the type, it will be an error. And the message will be, please select an element. Thank you, Copilot. Like this. And we're going to return. Cool. So if we do this, is it async? Yes, it is async. So let's wait. If we do this now, and I try to... How can I unselect an element? I think it's not possible, right? To unselect an element. I have to navigate away and come back. Like this. So now I don't have any elements selected. So if we did it right, when I click on this, I should be getting an error saying that, hey, please select an element. Cool. Yeah, this we didn't show this from in the previous stream. This is very helpful whenever you're trying to make sure that users must do something in particular. You can error, you can info, or you can success. Let's keep error for now, like this. Okay, so now we have selected the element, right? All good. So now what I want to do is create the element and append it as a child of the newly selected element. So if I do new element like this, create DOM like that. So I'm going to create this, okay, and I want to append it to the selected element. So I'm going to do selected element, append child, new element like this. But you can see how we're getting an error, and this is because we have to make sure that this selected element accepts having children to it, because maybe you have selected an input or something like that, so it doesn't really work. So what we could do is, if the selected element cannot have children, so if cannot have children, we can also throw another error. We can do error and say the selected element cannot have children, like this. Great. Okay. So if we did it right, now. Okay, what is... Hold on a second. All right, come on. The problem is that it's set children. Hell, okay. Never mind. Okay, I was doing it right. The only problem is that I was using the wrong method. I apologize. Okay, is this a promise? It's not a promise. Okay, good. So now all we have to do is to select that element, save like this. And now it's going to work. So now it's going to get this element, get from the tag. It's going to create this tag. It's going to set it as a child of the selected element. And then it's going to save. So it will send the information back to the designer so it can update the project. So if we try it in here, let's just check that we have the main wrapper like this. Let me refresh. I'm going to click on the button and it should add a button to it. Button. Eventually, it's not a function. Hey, did I need to rebuild? Maybe I did not refresh. Child, it's not a function. Come on, is it not building the project? Let me do it again just to make sure that it's building it correctly. Okay, refresh. Now it worked. Okay, somehow the project was not being rebuilt. I don't know what happened. If it happens again, we'll try to debug it. Okay, cool. So if you check what's happening, we have added the button to it, right? Now, see how we just added the button, but it doesn't have anything inside, right? So we actually cannot we cannot see the button. We can just see this tiny itty bitty button in here with no text. So let's add some tags into it too. So maybe here in the component settings, we could do something like text. And we can do click me like that. So we can check that if, actually, hold on a second. We could do, instead of passing the tag, we could pass the entire component. So I'm going to do component, and it's going to be type of components number like this. So essentially, we're going to be passing the entire component. And I'm going to update this. So instead of passing the tag, we're going to pass the entire component object, because this way we can access other properties, not only tag, but we can also access the text like this. So now, if the component has text, right? So if there's text inside it, I'm going to set text to the element, right? I think that this is not possible. So the way that you add text into an element, it's set text content. I don't know if that's going to work. Let me try it super quick. Oh, it did. Okay, cool. So you can also pass the text content directly like this. So you just say text content and it's going to set the text content into it. Another way you can add text into an element, it's by creating a text object. So you could do something like text equals to webflow.create string like this. And then you could, you would do it inside here. And then you could say new element, and set children, and you would pass the text to it. This is also a valid way of doing it, because the string, it's actually a node also. So it's still something that you can pass. But for what I see, Webflow has the set text content property, which is very convenient. Okay, great. So now, what happens if we do this? I click on the main wrapper, and now I click on the dialog. It's going to replace everything. So when I click on dialog, see what's happening. It's just replacing the content. See how I click on button? We have now button. If I click on dialog, we have now dialog. Because the problem is that we are saying, hey, set the children to the selected element. And we're just saying, hey, the children of this selected element should be the new element that we created, right? We don't want to do that. We want to preserve the previous existing children into it. How we would do that? I think that this did not work a while ago because it was a bug. So if it does not work right now, I'm going to look really bad. But supposedly the way that you do it, which I haven't tried it, is first you get the children, first, okay? And I think that this is async. It is not async, okay. And then we destructure this to say children. So we pass all the children and we pass the new element like this. So we're essentially creating a new array with all the previous children plus the new element in that array. Okay, let's just try it and let's cross fingers because actually I have not tried this. Button. Wait, I need to refresh. Button. Dialog. Cool, it worked. So there you have it. Question answered. Okay. Let me get rid of all of this. Go away. Now. Okay, great. So there are two more things that I want to do here. The first one is I want to add some default styles to it. For example, when you add a button in here, this is a link tag. This is actually an A tag. But it contains some styles that are built in that Webflow provides. So inspect this. This button contains a class that it's called W button. And let me just quickly try to say new element, set styles, and I want to add I want to get a style. Get style by name. Is it gonna work? See if I do this. Let's just try it. So if I get if I do this, so essentially I'm saying, hey, grab me the style that it's W button, but I don't know if that's gonna work because this is a built-in class. It's not a class that we have defined in the project. Yeah. Oh, sadly, it does not work. Okay. So probably would have to create some built-in styles ourselves. So we would do something like Webflow.create style like this, and create the style would be called, let's just for now say component tag. Just to avoid collisions. Component tag default. Just for the sake of, not collisioning. And then I'm going to do style.set properties. And I'm going to do this, for example. With this, let's say black. And the color white. And the border radius, I think it's... Oh, we have to use these ones. Okay. So I'm going to do, I think that this is enough. How about padding? Padding top, and padding bottom, and padding left, and padding right, and like this. Okay, if we did it right now, when we do this, I'm going to refresh this. If we do this and I add the button, okay, great. Cool, look at this. Great, so we created a CSS class that it's called button default, and we added a bunch of properties to it. We added the background color, some padding, etc., like that. So it's cool. Great. Okay, now I'm wondering what happens if I add another one. Is it gonna create and duplicate it? Doesn't work. Oh wait, it did. Okay. Now what's curious is that when I click again on this, it seems to not work. Oh yeah, right. We're having an error here. Okay, cool. So, right. A good way of handling this probably could be just adding a try catch. So if I did do try and catch error, and then we throw this, right? Now it's going to tell me that it cannot save. Right. Okay. Good. Now, so the problem is that look at this. So when we try to create a CSS class that already exists, that's probably it, right? Because if I do default with 2 T's, so I'm going to create a new CSS class, and I refresh and I do it again. Now it works, right? But the problem is I do it again, it doesn't allow me. The thing is, it's probably because I'm trying to create a class that already exists. So before creating a new style, we should do Webflow.getStyle by name, like this, right? And if the style exists, so if the style does not exist, then we would do this. This, like that, right? I think. So I should await. Now, like that, right? So if the style exists, then we don't create it, we just reuse it. But if it exists, then we create it like that. And now if I did it correctly, now it should allow me to add as many as I want. Nice. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for staying here with me. We managed to build something cool, right? We can just add something in here like that. So very cool. On the next stream, we're going to polish and finish this app. There are still many things that we haven't not implemented. So I'm going to just keep working on this app and hopefully maybe we can even polish it. So stay tuned if you want to see more. We'll see you next Friday. If you like this, leave a like, leave a comment, and don't miss the next one. Thank you all.